Good afternoon, everybody. This is Ms. Hazel S. Matthias from the Department of Mathematics, KLH Vishwanath Rao Deshpande Institute of Technology, Haldia. In the previous class, we were discussing about inverse Z transforms. Remember? And we have also discussed few questions on inverse Z transforms. So let's briefly go through whatever we have discussed in the previous class. We were discussing about the standard Z transforms. So there are few standard Z transforms which we need to remember. So similarly here we have inverse Z transforms. So we need to remember those. What is inverse Z transform of Z by Z minus K? It is K power N. Second one, inverse Z transform of Z by Z minus 1. What is it? Anybody? What is inverse Z transform of Z by Z minus 1? It is equal to 1. Similarly, because K is 1 over here, so 1 power N is nothing but 1. So this is the second inverse Z transform. Next, we have the third one, inverse Z transform of Z by Z minus 1 whole square. What is inverse Z transform of Z by Z minus 1 whole square? It is, what is it? It is N. Next, fourth one. Is it correct? Inverse Z transform of Z square plus Z divided by Z minus 1 whole cube. This is inverse Z transform of N square. Next we have inverse Z transform of Z cube plus 4Z square plus Z divided by Z minus 1 whole power 4. And this is the inverse Z transform of this is N cube. So these are the standard inverse Z transforms which we need to remember, like how you are remembering any formulae. You need to remember these inverse Z transforms. These are similar to your Z transforms, just a reverse case of this. As we know, Z transform of K power N is Z by Z minus K. Inverse Z transform of Z by Z minus K is K power N. Similarly, Z transform of 1 is Z by Z minus 1. So inverse Z transform of Z by Z minus 1 will be 1. This is just a reverse process. If you remember those standard Z transforms, writing inverse Z transforms is easier. There is no much difference between them. So we have discussed few questions in the previous class. Let's continue with the remaining examples in today's class. So we need to obtain the Z transform of, obtain the inverse Z transform of 8Z minus Z cube divided by 4 minus Z whole cube. This question is given because yesterday we were discussing about finding the inverse Z transforms using the method of partial fractions. Already I have discussed few more questions. So this also question we need to solve using the method of partial fractions. The function is given to be, let's take this as u bar of Z. Let u bar of Z is equal to 8Z minus Z cube divided by 4 minus Z whole cube. This one we shall take it as u bar of Z. Next step is we need to find what is u bar of Z divided by Z. That is divide by Z on both sides. So what happens here if I take from the numerator, if I take Z outside, 8 minus Z square remains. Okay, because we need to divide by Z. So from the numerator I take Z outside, 8 minus Z square remains. When we divide both sides by Z, this Z get cancels. What remains? 8 minus Z square divided by 4 minus Z whole cube. This is what remains. Take the given function as u bar of Z, then divide by Z on both sides. So it will be u bar of Z divided by Z. On the right hand side, Z get cancels. 8 minus Z square remains. Am I correct? Is it okay? Yes or no? Or anybody has any other idea how to solve these things? Anybody can tell me how we can solve this? Any other idea? If you can tell me something which is better than that or which can be easily solved. Shall we do it? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what we can do with this. See, this is one way of solving it by the method of partial fractions. You can proceed this way also. But there is one more way you can solve is, see, take the numerator. The function is 8z minus z cube divided by 4 minus z whole cube, isn't it? So how you can write this as, we shall write this in this form. See here. I'll write this as z cube minus 8z divided by z minus 4 whole cube. Can I write it? From both numerator and denominator I have taken minus z outside. 8z minus z cube divided by 4 minus z whole cube. From both numerator I take minus sign outside. It will be z cube minus 8z. Denominator also. It will be z minus 4 whole cube. So minus minus get cancels. It will be z cube minus 8z divided by z minus 4 whole cube. Okay. Then what we can do is, I'll write it directly over here because there is a reason. Why? What is the reason? I'll tell you now. What we can do is, how you can represent this as a into z by z minus 4 plus b into 4z minus z minus 4 whole square plus c into 4z square plus 16z divided by z minus 4 whole cube. Now tell me how I got this term. How one can imagine this term? How one can imagine this term? How can you write this as? How one can imagine this term? First check the denominator. Here you have z minus 4 power 3. Okay, when you use the method of partial fractions, what we usually do, if you have cube square term, what you do, you write a divided by z minus 4 plus b divided by z minus 4 whole square. Suppose if you have in the denominator cube, you add one more term, c divided by z minus power whole cube. Am I correct? This is the method of partial fractions. What we usually do, if we have square term, it will be a by z minus 4 plus b by z minus 4 whole square plus c by z minus 4 whole cube. This is how you write it. Am I correct? But numerator, how can you split that numerator? Here you have z cube minus 8z. What do you have? Z cube minus 8z. So numerator should be such that when you add up the terms, you should get the term z cube minus 8z. We do not know what is that. We only know the z transforms. Am I correct? What we know? We only know the z transforms. We know the z transform of z by z minus 4, which is what? 4 power n. And see, when power square comes, am I correct? When square comes and here in the denominator you have 4, you can find the z transform of 4z divided by z minus 4 whole square. What is this? 4z by z minus 4 whole square. This is nothing but k. Here k is 4. Correct? Here is 4, k is 4, so it will be 4 power n into n. One more formula is there. It is z transform of kz square plus k square z. It is 4z square plus here 16z is there. 16 is what? 4 square. So it is 4 square z divided by z minus 4 whole cube. What is the z transform? Sorry, inverse z transform of this. Inverse z transform of this is 4 power n into n cube or n square. N square it is. 4 power n into n square. So these are the inverse z transforms which we know. We know the inverse z transform of these. That's why we have written, we have split this entire term as a into z by z minus 4 because we need to write z cube minus 8z by z minus 4 whole cube as some a by z minus 4 plus b divided by z minus 4 whole square plus c divided by z minus 4 whole cube. But when we split this, see, in order to find the inverse z transform, there should be z term. When square comes, there will be some kz term. When cube comes, there should be some k square z plus kz square term, which is not there. That's why we are adding those terms over here. I hope this is clear why I have written like this. I would like to repeat this step once again. This is a little complicated step. 8z minus az cube minus 8z divided by z minus 4 whole cube. This is what it is given. You need to split it as a divided by 1 by z minus 4 plus b into something divided by z minus 4 whole square, because this is the method of partial fraction, something divided by z minus 4 whole cube. We know the z transform, inverse z transform of z minus 4. We know the of 4z by z minus 4 whole square. We know the inverse z transform of 4z square plus 4 square by z minus 4 whole cube. We have all those denominator terms. We have all those denominator terms, but the numerator is not there. That's why we add those terms. Z over here, 4z over here, 4z square plus 16z over here. This is why we add it. We can split this and write so that we get the value of a, b and c. So both right hand side is equal to the left hand side. I hope this step is clear. If no, you can ask me later on. So let's go forward with the method of partial fractions over here. Next step is what we shall do here. Next step, what shall we do now over here is z cube minus 8z divided by z minus 4 whole cube, that is equal to, next step what I do here is we'll take the LCM, that is z minus 4 whole cube. When I take the LCM, it will be a into z minus 4 whole square plus 4z into b, 4b z into z minus 4 plus c into 4, you can take 4 outside from here, so it will become 4c into z square plus 4z, or you can take z also outside from this. If I take 4z outside, what remains? If I take 4z out, 4 plus z plus 4 remains, so it will be 4cz into z plus 4. This is what remains. This is after taking the LCM. Now we shall multiply the entire expression by z minus 4 whole cube. Multiply the entire expression by z minus 4 whole cube. We get z cube minus 8z, that is equal to a into, what do we get over here? A into z minus 4 whole square plus 4b z into z minus 4 plus 4cz into z plus 4. This is after multiplying the entire expression by z minus 4 whole cube. Next what we do is, see, z is a common term everywhere, so we shall divide by z. So when I divide by z on both sides, I get z square minus 8, that is equal to, this z get cancels everywhere. What remains? A into z minus 4 whole square plus 4b into z minus 4 plus 4c into z plus 4. This is what we get. Now we shall put values so that we can find the values of the constants a, b and c. So first we shall put z is equal to 4. That time what happens? This term and this term get cancels. We will get the value of c. So put z equal to 4. 4 square is 16. 16 minus 8 equal to, a will become 0. This coefficient of b also will become 0. Here c. 4c into z value is 4. 4 plus 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. Then what do we get over here? Value of c. Check what happens. 16 minus 8 is 8. Here 8. 8 4s are 32. So what do we get over here? Value of c is 8 by 32. 8 by 32 is 1 divided by 4. This is the value of c. Next what we shall do? See, on just putting the value, we cannot get the value of c over here. We need to do something, so that we need to find the value of a and b. C value we got it just by putting the value of z as 4. When you put the value of z as 4 over here, it will be 4 minus 4, which is 0. Here also it is 4 minus 4, which is 0. So we get the value of c. Now what we shall do, if I put the value of z as minus 4, still then we will get two values of a and b, coefficients of a and b we get. So we cannot put the value of z as minus 4, even though c becomes 0. So what we shall do is we equate the coefficient of z square. Equating the coefficient of z square. What happens if we equate the coefficient of z square? Tell me the coefficient of z square. What is the coefficient of z square here on the left hand side? Coefficient of z square is 1. 1 is equal to here also. When we expand the z minus 4 whole square, it will be what? A square plus b square minus 2ab. So it will be 8z. So coefficient of z square will be a over here. Similarly, here you won't get a coefficient of z square anywhere. That's why we get the value of a as 1. Is it okay, everyone? Anybody has any doubt in this? Any doubt? Megha, any doubt?
Ma'am.
Okay. You can go through this and check the question after I am done with the class. So let's listen everybody carefully now. So we have found the value of C and A. Now equate the coefficient of Z. Equating the coefficient of Z. Coefficient of z. What do we get when we equate the coefficient of z? Here there is no coefficient of z on left hand side, so it is 0. That is equal to, here coefficient of z will be what? Just now I checked it. See here. Is it correct? Minus 8. I expanded a minus b whole square. Z square plus 16 minus 8z. So coefficient of z is minus 8a over here. So a minus 8a. Here also you can check coefficient of z is 4b. 4b. Here you check coefficient of z is 4c. So we get 4c over here. So this is what we get, and we know the value of a and c. So you can get the value of b from here. That is minus 8 into value of a is 1. 4b plus 4c. C value is 1 by 4. So what we get from here? Value of 4b is, here 4 get cancelled, it's 1. Minus 8 plus 1 is minus 7. So 4b equal to 7. So b value is nothing but 7 by 4. This is what we get. Is it okay getting the value of a, b and c? Okay. Now let's substitute all the values of a, b and c over here. Here in this expression. Expression 1. Substitute the value of a, b and c. So what happens when we substitute the value of a, b and c over here? It is z cube minus 8z divided by z minus 4 whole cube. That is equal to a value is 1. So it is z by z minus 4. Plus b value is 7 by 4 into 4z divided by z minus 4 whole square. Plus 1 by 4 into, because c value is 1 by 4, 4z square plus 16z divided by z minus 4 whole cube. Now we have to find the inverse transform of z transform of this. That's why I apply inverse z transform. So what happens when we apply the inverse z transform? It is z cube minus 8z divided by z minus 4 whole cube. That is equal to inverse z transform of each of these things. So what is inverse z transform of z by z minus 4? It is 4 power n plus 7 by 4 into, what is the inverse z transform of 4z by z minus 4 whole square? It is 4 power n into n. Here I have listed out all the things. See over here. Here is it. Inverse z transform of z by z minus 4 is 4 power n. Inverse z transform of 4z by z minus 4 whole square is 4 power n into n. Okay, these are the standard inverse z transforms which we need to remember. So similarly here we have inverse z transform of 4z square plus 4 square z by z minus 4 whole square, which is 4 power n into n square. These are the formulas which you need to remember. So what do we get over here? Here the last term is 1 by 4 into 4 power n into n square. So this is little a tricky question. If any of you find it difficult, I suggest you all not to read this. You can skip this question. Okay? Nikita.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So doesn't matter. Next we will discuss two questions which are repeated in the previous year question paper. So listen to these questions carefully now. This question, listen to me carefully. The previous one, if you are finding it difficult, I do not expect you all to go through that. If you have understood that, work out again. Okay, or else just leave it. So listen here, we'll discuss the next question. Next, find the inverse Z transform of Z divided by Z minus 2 into Z minus 3. So this is similar to the question what we have discussed in the previous class. We need to find the inverse Z transform of Z by Z minus 2 into Z minus 3. So first step is we need to take u bar of z. Let u bar of z is equal to z divided by z minus 2 into z minus 3. This is the first step. Second step, what you have to do? You need to find what is u bar of z divided by z. Divide by z on both sides. So what happens when you divide by z on both sides? We get u bar of z by z, that is equal to 1 by z minus 2 into z minus 3. Is it okay? Yash, are you there in the class? Varun, Vaishnavi, Sushmita.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the next step? What do we do next? We have taken the given function as u bar of z. Then we divide by z on both sides. So we get u bar of z divided by z. Then what we do? Apply method of partial fractions. 1 by z minus 2 into z minus 3. That is equal to what? A divided by z minus 2 plus b divided by z minus 3. This is how we apply the method of partial fractions. Correct? Vaishnavi?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next, what do we do? Sumaya, are you following? Srushti?
Yes.
Okay. Now what do we do? Multiply the entire expression by z minus 2 into z minus 3. Multiply the entire expression by z minus 2 into z minus 3. When you multiply over here, entire term get cancels. 1 remains on the left hand side. Now to this term, when you multiply by z minus 2 into z minus 3, z minus 2 get cancels. Z minus 3 remains. So it will be a into z minus 3 plus b into. When you multiply over here, z minus 2 into z minus 3, z minus 3 get cancels, b into z minus 2 remains on the right hand side. Now, we need to find the values of a and b. So what we shall do? What value we should put? When you need to find the value of a, you need to make the coefficient of b 0. So how we can make the coefficient of b 0? By putting the value of z as 2. 2 minus 2 will be 0. That's why I put z equal to 2. When we put z equal to 2, what do we get? 1 equal to a into 2 minus 3 plus b into 2 minus 2. So this term will be 0. What do we get the value of a as? A into 2 minus 3. 2 minus 3 is minus 1. So a value is minus 1. Now next, we found the value of a. We need to find the value of b. In order to find the value of b, I need to make the coefficient of a 0. So how we can make it? If I put z equal to 3, 3 minus 3 will be 0. So put z equal to 3. When we put z equal to 3, what happens? 1 equals a into 3 minus 3, which is 0, plus b into 3 minus 2. So this term is going to be 0. 3 minus 2 is 1. So what is the value of b? Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. Next, so we found the value of a and b. Substitute over here in this expression star. What do we get? U bar of z divided by z. That is what? 1 divided by z minus 2 into z minus 3, which we have expressed in terms of partial fractions, and we have found the value of a and b. A value is minus 1 by z minus 2. B value is 1 by z minus 3. This is from star. So this is u bar of z. Let's find, this is u bar of z divided by z. So what will be u bar of z? Multiply by z. So it will be minus z divided by z minus 2 plus z divided by z minus 3. Is it okay, everyone? Is it okay? Nehal,
Yes, ma'am.
Rohini, Sannidhi,
Uh,
Srishti.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes,
done.
ma'am.
Done. Now apply inverse Z transform. So Z inverse of U bar of Z equal to minus sign you can take outside. Inverse Z transform of Z by Z minus 2 plus inverse Z transform of Z by Z minus 3. So what do we get over here now? It is inverse Z transform of U bar of Z that is equal to minus. What is in Z transform of inverse Z transform of Z by Z minus 2? Tell me what is inverse Z transform of Z by Z minus 2?
2
What
power
is
n.
it? 2 power n. Very good. Always remember inverse Z transform of Z by Z minus k is k power n. So here k is 2, so it will be 2 power n plus what is inverse Z transform of Z by Z minus 3? Akash, what is it? Inverse Z transform of Z by Z minus 3. Mazin, what is it? Inverse Z transform of Z by Z minus 3. Nehal,
3 power n.
okay,
power n.
yes,
Power
good.
n.
It is 3 power n. Done? So this is the inverse Z transform of U bar of Z. Everybody listen to me carefully. Do not skip this Z transforms chapter. Even though you skip Fourier transform, doesn't matter. Do not skip inverse Z transforms and inverse Z transforms because this is the easiest one. You need not apply anywhere differentiation and integration. Those who are finding those concepts difficult, do not leave this topic. This is the easiest one. Just you need to remember the standard Z transforms and you should apply over here. Basic knowledge of calculus is sufficient in order to solve these questions. So this question also is been repeated in the previous year. Let's solve one more question. Even this has been done, this has been asked in the previous year. So we need to find the inverse Z transform of Z divided by Z square plus 7Z plus 10. Okay, we need to find the inverse Z transform of this. First step, what we need to do, let U bar of Z is equal to Z divided by Z square plus 7Z plus 10. Okay, now see the denominator. This is not in terms of linear factors, but we can split them in linear factors. Z square plus 7Z plus 10. This is not in terms, new denominator is not in terms of product of linear factors. That's why we can split this as product of linear factors. Either you can find the roots. Okay, by finding the roots, you can write them as a product of linear factors, or you can check this. This is 10 and 5 plus 2 is 7. 5 2s are 10. So you can guess the roots. 5 and 2 are the roots. So you can write them as z plus 2 into z plus 5. It's very easy to guess what are the roots. Okay, I repeat once again. See here, this will be the product of roots and this will be the sum of roots, correct? So 5 plus 2 is 7 and 5 2s are 10. So you can check and it is sure that 2 and 5 are the roots. So when you multiply them, you get back the same equation. This is how you split them. Just use your small knowledge or a trick to find what are its roots, what are its linear factors. Z plus 2 and Z plus 5 are the linear factors of this quadratic equation, or else you need to solve the quadratic equation in order to find the roots and then you have to express them in terms of linear factors. This is the easiest way. I told you all. This 10 is product of 5 into 2, 7 is sum of 5 and 2. So 5 and 2 are the roots of that quadratic equation. Hence you can express this quadratic equation as z plus 2 into z plus 5. So how you can split this as now? Z divided by z plus 2 into z plus 5. Now the denominator is a product of linear factors. That's why you can apply the method of partial fractions. U bar of z, divide by z on both sides. This is u bar of z. Next step, after you write u bar of z, the next step is you need to divide by z. So what happens when you divide by z? When you divide by z, the z get cancels. What will remain? Z plus 1 divided by z plus 2 into z plus 5. This is what remains. Done? Is it okay? Anybody wants to ask anything?
Ma'am, explain once again. Ma'am.
Yeah, sure. See over here, the denominator. We can apply the method of partial fractions. Suppose if we have product of linear factors. But here we have a quadratic equation z square plus 7z plus 10. Now, either you can find the roots. How you will usually find the roots? You check this, correct? It is what 5 into 2 and this 7 is what 5 plus 2. So you can write this as z square plus 5z plus 7z plus 10. Correct? Usually you do it like this. What we can do is, in order to find the roots, you can apply the formula, that is minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. You can apply this or you can solve by how you find the roots. But here you can write this as z plus 2 into z plus 5. So you multiply this. Z into z is z square. Z into 5 is 5z. You multiply these two. 2 into z is 2z. 2 into 5 is 10. So what do we get? Z square plus 7z plus 10. You get back the same equation. I just gave you the idea how to guess it. Instead of wasting the time over here, I just gave you the idea how you can split them as a product of two things. That 7 is 5 plus 2, 10 is 5 into 2. So the roots are 5 and 2. So you can write them as z plus 2 into z plus 5. Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
The one who asked the doubt, is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So z square plus 7z plus 10 can be split into z plus 2 into z plus 5. I hope this is clear. If still not clear, contact me after the class. I'll explain you once again. Okay. Next, it is must, because in order to apply the method of partial fraction, you should split them. You should not have this quadratic equation. It should be in the form of a plus b, ax plus b. It should be linear factors. What is linear factors? Expression which is expressed in this form, ax plus b. This is known as a linear factor. Now this is the first step. Write them as u bar of z. This is the second step. Divide by z on both sides. This is the second step. This step you need to do. It is must. U bar of z divided by z. You need to do it. So when you divide by z on both sides, here it will be u bar of z by z. Here also when you divide by z, this z and z get cancels. 1 by z plus 2 into z plus 5 remains. Now apply the method of partial fractions to this term on the right hand side, that is 1 divided by z plus 2 into z plus 5, that is equal to what? A divided by z plus 2 plus b divided by z plus 5. Okay, this is how you split them and write it by the method of partial fractions. Then multiply the entire expression by z plus 2 into z plus 5. So here when you multiply by this term, new denominator and numerator are same, get cancels, 1 remains. So when you multiply here by z plus 2 into z plus 5, z plus 2 get cancels, a into z plus 5 remains, plus second term b. When you multiply here by z plus 2 into z plus 5, z plus 5 get cancels, what remains? B into z plus 2 remains. This is what remains over there. Okay. Now we need to find the values of a and b. It's very easy. Always remember, if you have to find a, you need to make the coefficient of b 0. What is coefficient of b? Z plus 2. When it is 0, when z plus 2 is equal to 0, when z is minus 2. When you put z as minus 2 plus 2 will be 0. So what we do first? First put z value as minus 2. Here it will be 1. 1 is equal to a into minus 2 plus 5 plus b into minus 2 plus 2. So this term will be 0. What do we get next? Value of A is equal to A into minus 2 plus 5 is 3. So value of A is 1 divided by 3. Similarly, now you want to find the value of B. So make the coefficient of A 0. How we can make the coefficient of A 0? By putting the value of Z as minus 5. Minus 5 plus 5 is 0. That's why I put Z equal to minus 5. When you put Z equal to minus 5, what happens in this expression? In this expression, you need to put 1 is equal to A into minus 5 plus 5 plus B into Z value is minus 5 plus 2. Next, what happens here? A coefficient of A, this term will be 0, correct? 1 is equal to B into minus 5 plus 2 is minus 3. So it is minus 3. That's why value of B is what? 1 divided by minus 3 or minus 1 by 3. Anybody wants to ask anything? Is it clear how to find the value of A and B? Please ask if you have any doubt. Suraj, is it okay? Are you able to follow it?
Yes, ma'am.
Suraj,
Yes, ma'am.
Varun, Yash,
Yes, ma'am. Somewhat.
somewhat. You need to practice. Okay, Z transform, do not leave out. I'm telling everybody because here there is no differentiation and integration. Very simple questions are asked. See, last two questions, whatever I have discussed, even this question is I have not completed, but the previous question and this question, they are very easy and they have been asked in the question paper. Difficult ones will not be asked. If you're not able to follow it, just leave it, but work out the simple problems. These have been repeated in the previous year question papers. So let's continue this question. We have found the value of A and B over here. Okay. So here is our equation. So this is the one. Here we need to find the value of A and B. Okay. Here is the one. Here we need to find the value of A and B. So substitute the values of A and B in that. What we get when we find the values of A and B in that? We get 1 divided by Z plus 2 into Z plus 5, that is equal to A divided by Z plus 2. A value is 1 by 3. So it will be 1 by 3 into Z plus 2 plus B divided by Z plus 5. B is minus 1 by 3. So 1 by 3 into 1 by Z plus 5. This is what we get it when we substitute the value of A and B. Okay, and what is this? 1 by Z plus 2 into Z plus 5. It is U bar of Z divided by Z. So write it over here. U bar of Z divided by Z, that is equal to 1 by Z plus 2 into Z plus 5, which we have splitted as 1 by 3 into 1 by Z plus 2 minus 1 by 3 into 1 by Z plus 5. This is how we have split it. Next, what we do is we have to find the inverse Z transform of U bar of Z. That's why find U bar of Z. This is U bar of Z divided by Z. That's why multiply by Z to the entire term. Multiply by Z. So what do we get over here? 1 by 3 into Z by Z plus 2 minus 1 by 3 into Z by Z plus 5. Where this Z came, it was U bar of Z by Z. But I want U bar of Z. That's why multiply by Z. Is it okay? Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now find the inverse Z transform. Z inverse of U bar of Z, that is equal to 1 by 3 into inverse Z transform of Z by Z minus of minus 2. Sorry, next we have minus 1 by 3 minus 1 by 3 into inverse Z transform of Z divided by Z minus of minus 5. Why I have written Z plus 5 as minus of minus 5? Because we have the formula for Z by Z minus K, inverse Z transform of Z by Z minus K only. Correct? That's why Z plus 5 I have written it as Z minus of minus 5. Is it okay? Is it okay, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
We do not have the formula for z by z plus k. We have the formula for inverse z transform of z by z minus k. That's why that z plus 5 I have written it as z minus of minus 5. Similarly, z plus 2 I have written it as z minus of minus 2. So what is it? In place of k we have minus 2. Here in place of k we have minus 5. So inverse z transform of z by z minus k is k power n. So what this will become? 1 by 3 into minus 2 power n. Similarly, minus 1 by 3 into here k is minus 5. So it is minus 5 power n. Is it okay everyone? Anybody has any doubt? This is the end of this problem. Anybody wants to ask anything? Just tell me. Anybody, any doubt? No?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Practice these questions. So these questions only you do practice. Do not go for the additional ones. These only you practice. Whatever I have discussed in class, those questions only everybody please work out. Those who are finding it difficult or those who have just started as lateral entry students, you can just study this Z transforms. Later on, after I finish this, by next week I will finish this, then we will do the revision so that it will be easier for you. But if you have joined the class as of now, for regard to this lateral entry students, I suggest you all to go with this class only. Study the Z transforms, which are easy to learn and understand as well. So last question I'll discuss. This also you can solve it easily. We need to find the inverse Z transform of 2z square plus 3z divided by z plus 2 into z minus 4. We need to find the inverse z transform of this. Say denominator is a product of linear factors. There is nothing much to do. So take u bar of z equal to 2z square plus 3z divided by z plus 2 into z minus 4. Next step is find u bar of z divided by z. That means what? Divide by z on both sides. Divide by z on both sides. So what happens when we divide by z on both sides? Here it will be u bar of z by z. What happens when you divide by z over here? This numerator can be written as, if I take z outside from the numerator, it will be 2z plus 3. Am I correct? From the numerator, if I take z outside, 2z remains plus 3 remains over here. So when I divide by z, this z get cancels. What remains? 2z plus 3 divided by z plus 2 into z minus 4. Am I correct? Am I correct? Is it okay? Anybody wants me to repeat?
Repeat, ma'am.
Okay. Here, see this one. This is u bar of z. What is u bar of z? 2z square plus 3z divided by z plus 2 into z minus 4. This numerator, what I do, I take z outside. If I take z outside from this, what remains? One more z remains, so 2z remains. Plus here, from this term, if I take z outside, what remains? 3 remain. So when you multiply, you get back the same equation. Z into 2z, 2z square, z into 3, 3z. Same thing. Just I have taken z from the entire expression out. So it is z plus 2 into z minus 4 in the denominator. Next step is divide by z on both sides. So here also divide by z. So it will be u bar of z by z. But when you have divided by z, this z and z get cancels. So 2z plus 3 divided by z plus 2 into z minus 4 remains. Is it okay now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now we take this term. You have to take the right hand side in order to apply the method of partial fractions. That is 2z plus 3 divided by z plus 2 into z minus 4. That you can split it as a divided by z plus 2 plus b divided by z minus 4. This is how you split it. A by z plus 2 plus b by z minus 4. This is how you split it. Afterwards, what we do, multiply the entire expression by z plus 2 into z minus 4. When you multiply z plus 2 into z minus 4, what happens? Everything get cancels, only 2z plus 3 remains. So that is equal to, similarly, when you multiply the same thing over here, z plus 2 get cancels, z minus 4 remains, a into z minus 4 plus b into, here also you have to multiply by z plus 2 into z minus 4. In the denominator z minus 4 is there, this will get cancels, b into z plus 2 remains. Done? Is it okay? Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
Next. Okay, done. Now you see, I need to find the value of a. That means this term has to be made 0. So what value of z I should put so that coefficient of z will become, b will become 0. Now you all have to tell me what value of z I should put, and be quick.
-2.
Minus 2, correct. When I put z equal to minus 2, here what happens? 2 into minus 2 plus 3, that is equal to a into minus 2 minus 4 plus b into, this will become 0, minus 2 plus 2, this will become 0. So here we have minus 4 plus 3, 2 into minus 2 is minus 4 plus 3, that is equal to a into minus 2 minus 4 is minus 6. What is minus 4 plus 3? It is minus 1. So what is the value of a? 1 equal to, here it is minus 1 equal to minus 6a. So minus minus get cancels. What is the value of a? 1 by 6. Am I correct? Yes or no? Please answer.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay, done. Next, what I should do so that I can find the value of b? I need to make the coefficient of a 0. How can I make it? What value of z I should put?
4.
4. Correct. When I put z as 4, 4 minus 4, it will become 0. So I can find the value of b. So it will be 2 into, in this expression you need to put the value of z. So z is 4 now, 2 into 4 plus 3. So a will be 0, b into 4 plus 2. 4 2s are 8, 8 plus 3 11, b into 4 plus 2 is 6. So what is the value of b? It will be 11 by 6. Done. We found the value of a and b. Substitute over here in this expression. Substitute in this expression value of a and b. So 2z plus 3, 2z plus 3 divided by z plus 2 into z minus 4, that is equal to a by z plus 2. A is what? 1 by 6. So it is z plus 2. A by z plus 2. A is 1 by 6 into 1 by z plus 2. B is 11 by 6 into 1 by z minus 4. This is what we have done. Substitute over here. Value of a and b. A by z plus 2 plus b by z minus 4. A is 1 by 6. B is 11 by 6. Afterwards, what we have to do? We need to find u bar of z by z. What is u bar of z by z? 2z plus 3 divided by z plus 2 into z minus 4. Here it is. Check. What is u bar of z by z? 2z plus 3 divided by z plus 2 into z minus 4, which we have split it as a product of partial fractions, which is 1 by 6 into 1 by z plus 2 plus 11 by 6 into 1 by z minus 4. This is u bar of z by z. This is what? U bar of z by z. But what we require u bar of z. That's why multiply by z. This is u bar of z by z. I want u bar of z. So multiply by z, we get 1 by 6 into z by z plus 2 plus 11 by 6 into z by z minus 4. This is u bar of z by z. I want z, that's why multiply the entire expression by z. This is what we get it. Now apply the inverse z transform. Z inverse of U bar of Z, that is equal to 1 by 6 into inverse Z transform of Z by Z minus of minus 2 plus 11 by 6 into inverse Z transform of Z divided by Z minus 4. So what do we get over here? 1 by 6 into, I repeat once again, inverse Z transform of Z by Z minus K is K power n. This is usually used. Only this thing will be used most of the time. So K is minus 2 over here. CT should be of the form Z minus K. K, if it is not Z minus, you should bring that because Z plus 2 is there. So that Z plus 2 can be written as Z minus of minus 2. So K is minus 2 and it is K power n. So it will be what? Minus 2 power n. Similarly, here 11 by 6 into, here we have the form inverse Z transform of Z by Z minus K. It is already in the form where K is 4. So it will be 4 power n. Is it okay, everyone? Is it okay? Anybody has any doubt? Anybody, any doubt? No doubt? Manikya, Sannidhi, Sonia,
No, ma'am.
Sushmita.
No, ma'am.
Okay. So let's just briefly go through the things what we have learnt in today's class. First, what you need to remember is inverse Z transform of Z by Z minus K. It is K power n. Next, inverse Z transform of Z by Z minus 1, which is 1. Inverse Z transform of Z by Z minus 1 whole square. It is n. Inverse Z transform of Z by Z minus 1, sorry, Z square plus Z by Z minus 1 whole cube is n square. Next, inverse Z transform of Z cube plus 4Z square plus Z divided by Z minus 1 whole power 4. This is n cube. So these are the inverse, standard inverse Z transform which we need to remember. Then we have discussed how to find the inverse Z transforms. Inverse Z transforms by the method of partial fractions. By the method of partial fractions. Remember this. This is the method of partial fractions in order to find the inverse Z transforms. First step is, given a function, let's take this as u bar of Z. Some function will be given. Then find u bar of Z divided by Z. That means divide both side by Z. Here some function will be given, say u of Z by v of Z. Some function will be given, both side divide by Z. You get u bar of Z. Then whatever function you get it over here, apply partial fraction to that. Apply partial fraction to that. And find the values of the constants a, b. Sometimes you may get c also. Suppose if you have a cubic term in the denominator. Find the value of a, b and c. Substitute over here. You will be express them as some a by something plus b by something. Substitute a and b. You will find u bar of Z by Z. Afterwards find u bar of Z. That is, multiply this Z to this term. Multiply Z to this term. You will get u bar of Z. Then find inverse Z transform. So this is how you find the inverse Z transforms by the method of partial fractions. Is it okay, everyone? Anybody, any doubt? Anybody wants to ask anything? No? Sushmita, is it okay? Akash, is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So if you have any doubt, please contact me. We shall meet in tomorrow's class at 11 o'clock. Thank you, everybody.